Hello, it is 11:31 a.m. on January the 1st, 2021 here in Salem, Indiana. And we're looking at some discs. Right here. This is what we're looking at, some discs. There were 714 of these, the story goes, that were found in caves. Hello. Hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello from my heart to yours. Thank you for joining me. Thank you. They say, high on the mountains, Kadbayan Karaula. This is about China, which range through the borders of China and Tibet. There are a series of caves situated which are strangely interconnected, built by either man or nature. And it was along that area where these caves were that around 716 of these discs, this is another example of it, the Drapa stones, extremely rare. 716 of these were found. That's how the story goes throughout the caves. And this is real. This was literally dismissed throughout history. They say, inside the caves lie buried bodies of the most unique, excuse me, humanoid species seen by man. Let me get this. I got to get myself a drink of water, you all. Let me focus back on these stones right here for a moment. These discs, so I can get myself a drink of water. You can see that we have a small extraterrestrial on here. You can see some writings on this, the Drapa stones, or Drapa discs, or whatever they were. Yeah. So inside the caves, they said they found a unique hominoid species. It was back in 1938, the discovery of the caves. Some archaeologists stumbled upon it. They said they were not human and they were not animals. The skeletons showed very small and very thin arms and legs, almost spinely, but really large heads are compared to the short and thin frame. So I've got a picture of what these extraterrestrials, it's kind of sad, what they look like that they found in these caves right here. And they said they were shorter than, they were around 3.5, maybe 3.7 feet and shorter. There's like a family of them that was found in this big area, this area along the borders of Tibet and China. And this is real. It really is real. So they say that a Chinese archaeologist, Chi Pu Tai, and his team were taking a close look at the skeletons when they noticed something even stranger. Half buried in the cave floor was a round disc. It looked like it was made of stone with a hole in the center, and there were spiral engravings on the, or grooves, like 2 rings going around it. So I think I've got some more of these with like 2 rings going around it. Yeah, something like that. It's spiral, you can see it, with 2 rings going around it. This is like one of them. So this is what was found in the caves. They said it looked like a form of writing or hieroglyphs on the grooves. And no one could translate it, not even the experts in ancient writings. And they say that on the walls of the caves were carvings showing the rising of the sun, the moon, and the stars, which were joined together by lines and small dots. As they said, it took 20 years for this disc to be deciphered. And this is in the, this is high on the mountains called Bayan Kara Ula, which range through the borders of China and Tibet. And this is a series of caves that this was discovered back in 1938, the Dropa stones, the Dropa alien race, the Dropa stones. Let's look at this again. So yeah, so that's me. I'm sorry about that. That is the Dropa stones. Let me just do this. Gina, you got on over here. So the Dropa stones, I do this on my laptop because I don't like going live stream on my share the screen because they like to drop my resolution. So the Dropa stones, and if you're commenting, oh, I can see you. Hello, Happy New Year. Yeah, like the small grays. That's what it kind of reminds me of, the small grays. But it took, they found 716 of the same kind of discs in that cave. And according to Dr. Sum Un Nui's translation of the disc, they told a story, an unbelievable story, it says, of a space probe that came to Earth from another planet, and it crashed into the remote island, the remote mountains, and the inhabitants came in peace, and they were very well from an advanced civilization, but their taller neighbors made life difficult for them. The people who lived there, when the extraterrestrials, this race of beings, crashed into those mountains, the people who were taller than them, they made their life difficult for them. Yeah. They took off for other worlds. Let's see, their taller neighbors, the inhabitants came from peace, and they were from a very advanced civilization, but their taller neighbors made life difficult for them. Thus, they took off for other worlds. But somewhat sad tell is the inhabitants or the natives of the area, they felt threatened by these, what they called them, creatures. That's not a very nice way to label a visitor. They called them creatures, and they thought they were extremely ugly. This is what that article explains. And they hunted and killed almost all of them. Isn't that sad? They hunted and killed almost all of them. I think that is absolutely horrific. Look at that. They hunted and killed almost all of them. And the way I understood it, there were families. They were like around they're around 3.5 feet long or tall. And they came in peace. But they hid in the caves when they first got there for like 9 days because they didn't want to scare the people that lived around there, the humans. They didn't want to scare them. They wanted them to know that they came in peace. But I guess it didn't work that well for them. I guess it didn't. They had to stay in the caves or something. They said that there were 2 native tribes that still live up on the remote mountains and almost inaccessible, and they are called the Dropa and the Ham. But they don't look like these, they say. It says that the Ham, H-A-M, killed them who came on horseback. And this is bizarre tale has been traced back to 12,000 years ago. 12,000 years ago, high on the mountain between China and Tibet. Yeah, on those mountains in caves, there was a race of beings, their disc. They crashed in those mountains, and they couldn't repair their ships or something. So they found all these little bitty 716 little small discs that you could hold in your hand. Like here's a picture of them. You could hold in your hand, and they were writing their stories on it is what they were doing. They were writing their stories, but they eventually died is what happened. And there's old cave carvings up there. They said the discs were mostly made of cobalt and other metals. So they were like metals, cobalt and other metals in China. It says the legends and folklore in China speak of an ancient race that came from the clouds. And they were killed because they were small and very ugly, and people didn't like them. Isn't that sad? Can you imagine if you came to somebody's country and they did not like the way you looked, they just killed you right off the bat because you did not look like them. That they really just, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. That is, that's judging a book by its cover to do that to another race of beings. That's like having animals. You don't like the way they look, so you're going to kill them. that's not right, you all. It's not right. So really, this is what it is. It's these small beings right here. They were very small. Uh, they had a big head, spindly body, big eyes, and that's what they did. They killed them. They hunted them down, every single one of them, until they, they found the ones that were stuck in the caves. They died, I guess, in the caves or something. It says that the carvings show a constellation other than our own, and computer simulation of the diagram showed that there were views of Earth from another star system that they came from. They came from the stars. They came from the clouds in their ships. And Eric von Däniken, he has spoke about this, it said, and he's accepted this. But for the most part, they said that people would not accept it. They said the interesting fact is that the translation of the discs speak of the alien race as Dropa, or Dropa, D-R-O-P-A. They say that there is still a tribe that exists in the mountain with that same name. They're neither Chinese nor Tibetan. And they have a legend of that area with people with very large heads and big eye sockets with tiny bodies. They came and they were hiding in the cave thousands of years ago. And they say that the legend is it's so old, they say, but it's unique. And you know what? What's really sad is when the scientists went to tell his story, he was criticized and condemned. He was. They would not accept it. They did not want to hear nothing about it at all, which is really, it's sad. Yeah. So that's what was happening. That's what was happening. It says, anyone ever heard of any, they tried to dismiss it as being monkeys. And they said, have you ever heard of monkeys burying their dead neatly in rows inside of caves? And how come the ancient legend tells the same story about it, they said. But it was very interesting, you all. The Dropa stones, they existed if you hadn't heard about them. Yeah, and let me show you a picture of them right here. The Dropa stones, there were 714 of them all together. And that, I guess that's how they wrote their history. They were documenting their experience, but they never made it back to their star system that they came from. They crashed, and they were hunted down and killed because they felt they were so ugly and they were small. That is not right. Okay, it's not right. You don't even give them a chance. You hunt them down and you get rid of them because they look different than you, or you think you're superior than them. That's not nice, you all. Yeah, it's not. It kind of makes me sad hearing about it. It does. So look at that right there. And I don't know why. I'd like to hear more about our history. Why do they don't tell about this? And this has happened in the mountains of China and Tibet area, in the mountainous region. And they dismissed the stones, is what they did. Dismissed them as fake. Fake. You know why they dismissed them as fake? Because they didn't want something coming in and changing the history that they wanted. And I'm not saying China, I'm just saying the world, whatever was ruling the world, and is still ruling, how they have to keep everything hush-hush. It's, I just don't like it. I don't like it. Look, so that I keep putting this on me. I do. So here's another picture of it. Let's look at this. So they were like metal-like too. It's like this. Oh, I know, and I don't want to be bred to kill things. It's awful. It is awful. It's not nice. It really isn't. So this is another one of those. And I'm sure that there are people, they're just trying to there probably is a group of people who just want to keep humanity safe, and they feel that they'll tell them when the time comes. They'll tell all that has happened when the time comes. And until then, they didn't want to let it leak out because it literally would change the world the way that we view it, and it would change our lives on and an immeasurable scale. Yeah, so it's the drop of stones and the race of aliens that came from the clouds in their UFO, on their UFOs, and they were really small like this. And that's so sad. It's like a family of them, and they hunted them down and they killed them. It's not nice. Yeah, yeah. So if you're just tuning in, yeah, you can look it up yourself. It's in the high on the mountains called Bayan Kara Ula, which range through the borders of China and Tibet. A most fascinating series of caves is situated, which are strangely interconnected, built by either man or nature. And that's where they found in 1938, a group of archaeologists found the bodies of these extraterrestrials, which some dismissed as being small apes or monkeys. Yeah, and then they found half buried in the floor was a round disc, is what it says. And the round disc looked like this. And it had writings on it which they could not decipher. A form of writing they could not decipher. And on the walls were cave drawings of the star system that they came from. I wonder what that is. You know, you see that right there. Look kind of like octopuses, don't it? This right. Let me try to get this back up. I'm gonna put this right here again. Sorry, you're gonna have to look at this like that. I wanted to see this particular one. It looked kind of like octopuses with long arms. Look, it looked like a reptile, a iguana maybe. Maybe they saw those there. Look at that. This probably looked like their spaceship that landed. Yeah. So that's the mystery of, that's the story of the UFO that crashed in the mountains there. And there were small extraterrestrials around 3.5 feet with large head and big eyes and small, thin, spindly bodies. And they say that there was some people there who looked like that. But then they got hunted down, I guess, to extinction because they thought they were ugly. They didn't look like them. Yeah. Thank you, Polly. You're so very welcome. So, yeah, the drop of stones, the drop of disc, and the aliens, drop of extraterrestrial race of beings that crashed there and they couldn't get back home. Yeah. So let me do this right here. And this is real. This is real. It's not a myth. It's not a myth at all, you all. It's not. It's real. It happened. It wasn't monkeys. It wasn't none of it. It was a very unfortunate thing that happened. But, you know, they thought so much of it as to preserve the skeletons, I think. They've got them preserved as history, part of history. So with that being said, I am going to go. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll share some more things later. I don't know what yet, but I will. A Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you're having a wonderful New Year's Day. They look like a griffin or something, yeah. Is there a way you can put the website in the comments, Gina? If I log on here, yeah, I can do that. But then you have to do your own search on this to find, you know, the pictures and things because I've already closed out of them. Yeah. So thank you all so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.